warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me. My name is Kunisa Adati and I'm from UINK Hidayatullah, Jakarta. Today, I'm gonna review the articles about English learning for foreign language. So without any further ado, let's move to the next slide. Here is the two sessions for today that are first explanation about each other journal and then the correlation of them. I have two main ideas here, that is methods, strategies, or technique for EFL learners and factors to considering in designing material. Well, let's see each journal now. But I should apologize first if there are any misspelling the name of the author. The first is A Critical Study of Iranian EFL Environment by Arezou Moulavi Fardanjani. The purpose of this research is to provide solid overview of second language teaching methods and approach for teachers and students on learning English as second language, especially in grammar translation method and communicative language teaching approaches. So the result is, first, from the teacher's point of view, teaching students college is frustrating. The traditional method most acceptable for the students. The second point of view from the student. Most of the students believe that learners' English proficiency depending on their teachers' lecturers rather than their own practice. The second is the emergence of Suggestopedia teaching a second language to adult migrants in Sweden by Helena Colliander and Andreas Pages. The purpose is to illustrate how several mechanisms in the Suggestopedia practice for second language adult learners. The result is several features was adapted from socio-cultural perspective to mediate students' learning. Students' contribution to a greater extent when conducting lessons, teachers, and socio-cultural perspective that might potentially enhance students' learning. And the third is communicative language teaching, practical difficulties in the rural EFL classrooms in Taiwan by Xu Huang. The purpose is changing the pedagogy from grammar translation method to more communicative one, aimed at cultivating learners of greater communication proficiency for the internationalization and globalization needed. The result is CLT syllabus could enhance students' interest in English communication and effectively develop learners' communicative ability. And the fourth is about psychological factors affecting EFL students' speaking performance by Ayani. The purpose is to investigate psychological barriers faced by Indonesian students which affect their speaking skill. The result is psychological factors which hinder the students in performing their speaking are possibly caused by the feeling or too worried of making mistakes and the lack of self-esteem, which are related to shyness and their anxiety level. The next is teaching reading for young learners in EFL context by Lingga Agustina Suganda. The purpose is to finding out the effectively approaches of teaching reading for young learners in EFL context. The result is there is nothing the best approaches to teaching reading, because when one approach with one student, it might not work for another student. And the next is about the teaching for EFL writing in Indonesia by Aryani. The purpose of this research to discuss teaching and learning writing in the classroom based on theoretical conceptualization. The result is most Indonesian students face challenges in complex grammatical structure in English. The next is teachers' attitudes and beliefs regarding ICT in teaching and learning in European countries by Birgit Eichelman and Mario Veneman. The purpose of the research is to looking forward to determine whether there are typology of teachers with different attitudes toward the potential of ICTs for learning. The result of this research is there is no obvious reason why the distribution of teachers with different attitudes toward and belief about the usefulness of ICT in instructional context varied in such a substantial way in the three countries studied. And the next is about the implementation of PUEW in teaching writing by Sienna and Shawar. The purpose of this research is to investigate how significant the implementation of POW, predicting, observing, explaining, and writing model improve the students' writing ability. The result is the students who were treated to POW model have significant improvement in their writing ability than the students who were not. And the next is about autonomous learning and critical thinking, inspecting the association among EFL learners by Manianos Aratiania and Ali Reza Zakir. The purpose of this research is to investigate relationship between EFL learners, critical thinking, and autonomy using present product moment correlation coefficients. The result is there is a significant and positive relationship between EFL learners, critical thinking, and autonomy learning. And the last is about teaching English to young learners and factors to consider in designing the material by Sukarno. The purpose of this research is to consider in designing teaching learning material the theories of teaching English to young learners at elementary school. The result is that English teachers must comprehend the theories of teaching learning of English to young learners in general. The teacher also could determine how English is to be taught through activities in social context. Well, the ninth journal is about the kind of method and technique used for teaching English in foreign language, and the last journal is about factors that I have to consider when designing the material for young learners. The correlation of all journals is to designing English material have many points to consider. One of the points that I have to consider is the method and the technique used for young learners. Well guys, today I am really grateful because this is the last video for this semester, and I wanna thanks to Miss Nida Husna. Because of her, I could improve many skills such as writing, listening, of course reading for this lecture. So I really thanks for it, and yeah, that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.